This morning, we have a report that the object got much brighter than expected, and moreover, the color of the object is blue, bluer than the sun. And that's very surprising because usually when there is dust around an object, it should make it red. I should also say that the news yesterday was that this object came closest to the sun, and it received a huge amount of heat from the sun. And the latest report indicates that it became extremely bright, much more than expected for familiar comets. Now, yesterday, the first report about what it's doing closest to the sun came out. These are instruments that are capable of looking very close to the sun. And it was realized that, in fact, the object is brightening. It becomes very bright right now as it comes close to the sun, and it's turning blue. And the color blue is very surprising because if there is any dust shed off a natural nucleus of a comet, the dust would make it red. And usually the surface of the object is at least an order of magnitude cooler than the surface of the sun. But what the new data indicates is that the object is bluer than the sun. How is that possible?
For months, the object known as 3I Atlas drifted silently through the black gulf between worlds, a frozen wanderer from the deep interstellar dark. Its path was predictable, its speed constant, until it wasn't. As it neared Earth, telescopes registered an impossible pattern. The object was both accelerating and decelerating, simultaneously. Instruments spiked, tracking stations fell into silence, and for the first time, the motion of a cosmic body defied every known law of celestial mechanics. Astronomers expected gravity to govern its dance. Instead, they witnessed intention, a frozen comet behaving like a conscious traveler, adjusting its speed as though watching us back. Was this mechanical interference, a natural force unknown to physics, or something older hidden in the void? What scientists discovered next would unravel everything they thought they understood about motion itself. It began as a flicker, a point of light sliding silently through the darkness between Mars and Jupiter. At first, astronomers logged it as a routine detection, an interstellar fragment, 3I Atlas, continuing the quiet lineage of objects passing through our solar system from beyond. Its movement appeared ordinary, its speed unwavering, its purpose non-existent. But the illusion of predictability shattered within days. As the world's telescopes turned toward the strange traveler, its trajectory refused to obey the laws that had ruled celestial motion since Newton. Instruments from Hawaii to Chile captured a rhythm in its speed, subtle yet deliberate. The object would accelerate, then hesitate, lurch forward again, then pause as if drawing a breath no rock should ever take. For a moment, scientists believed their sensors were at fault. They recalibrated, rechecked, and realigned their optical systems. Yet the readings persisted. The anomaly was not in the instruments, it was in the object itself. Gravity dictates a single, elegant rule. Motion through space follows curvature, not will. Every comet, asteroid, and fragment of dust bends obediently to that invisible hand. But 3I Atlas resisted. Its path curved not away from the sun but toward it, violating both momentum and expectation. Some proposed sublimation, jets of gas pushing the body off course. Others whispered about an internal magnetic field far beyond the strength of any natural object. Spectral data deepened the mystery. Its surface reflected light inconsistently, one moment matte and inert, the next shimmering like metal catching distant starlight. It was as if the object's skin shifted phase, transitioning between solid and liquid under no visible cause. The orbital models collapsed one by one. Each recalculation led to further contradiction, a comet that appeared to steer, a mass without propulsion that moved with purpose. In a cosmos that demanded cause for every effect, 3I Atlas was rewriting the script. And yet its silence was the most haunting. No emission, no radio frequency, no thermal irregularity, and only motion. Controlled, deliberate motion. Across laboratories and space agencies, unease grew. Was it a relic of an ancient system, one that had long mastered inertia? Or was it something newly born, a signal that the void beyond the stars was not empty after all? In the night sky it glimmered faintly, an intruder wrapped in enigma. its course unpredictable, its purpose unknown, and deep within that silence a question lingered like static in the cosmic dark. If gravity no longer ruled its motion, what did? The signals began as whispers, faint tremors hidden within the electromagnetic noise of space. As 3I Atlas traversed the orbital plane of Mars, its motion no longer appeared chaotic but organized, almost rhythmic. Observatories tracking its velocity noticed an uncanny correspondence between its acceleration and a sequence of pulsing frequencies emanating from its position. Each surge in speed was mirrored by a pulse, each deceleration a silence. It was as though the object possessed a heartbeat, a cadence born not of biology, but of design. At NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, teams filtered raw radio data through algorithms used to analyze pulsars and magnetars. The result defied classification. The frequency modulations bore none of the statistical randomness expected of natural cosmic events. Magnetic storms, rotational precession, even interference from solar wind, and all were systematically ruled out. The pulses were not chaotic. They were coded. Each transmission held symmetry, mathematical precision down to microseconds. The pulses repeated in cycles of 23, a pattern inconsistent with orbital resonance, but strangely reminiscent of timing systems used in artificial communication. When European Space Agency engineers attempted triangulation, a startling phenomenon occurred. The signal shifted before their sensors locked on. As though anticipating the angle of observation, it moved in response to awareness. In deep space telemetry, reaction implies intent. But intent requires perception. Could 3I Atlas see its observers, or was it responding to something else? An echo of itself reflected through the vacuum. The pulse continued unwavering and patient. To the instruments, it was merely data. To the scientists watching in silence, it was something more profound. A pattern that seemed to listen back. And somewhere within those perfect intervals of soundless space, humanity faced a haunting possibility that the universe itself was speaking, and 3I Atlas was the voice. In the archives of forgotten sky surveys, the past began to whisper. When 3I Atlas defied gravity's grasp, it forced astronomers to look backward, to the faint silent trails of two others that had come before. Oumuamua in 2017, Borisov in 2019. Both had entered our solar system from the same unfathomable depths. Both had left behind questions too easily dismissed. At the time, their oddities were filed away as error, artifacts of atmosphere, calibration, or coincidence. But in the cold precision of hindsight, the data aligned with unnerving symmetry. Each object had altered its velocity near planetary orbits. Each had deviated from expected paths with the same subtle grace. What once seemed noise now formed a pattern, a sequence across decades, across light years. The implication was staggering. If Oumuamua, Borisov, and 3I Atlas were related, they might not be debris at all. They could be fragments of an organized procession, emissaries traveling through systems in measured silence, recording, transmitting, or perhaps waiting. Astrophysicists began to map their trajectories as one would trace constellations, not random, but deliberate. When projected backward, the line cut through ancient star systems now long dead, passing near planets where civilization might once have flickered. Was there a rhythm to their arrival? A galactic clock counting civilizations into awareness? As if to answer, new data arrived. Spectral analysis of 3I Atlas revealed isotopic anomalies, elements that should not exist in natural formation. Metallic compounds bearing isotope ratios far too precise, too uniform, as if engineered. It was no longer a question of origin, but of intent. Could these be relics of an ancient mechanism still functioning long after its creators were gone? If 3I Atlas was a vessel, then somewhere within its silence might linger memory, not of humanity, but of those who watched before. And perhaps even now it was watching still. In the dim-lit conference rooms of observatories and research institutes, the whispers took shape into theory. As data from 3I Atlas accumulated, every conventional explanation dissolved under scrutiny. No model of propulsion, gravity assist, or sublimation could account for the precise fluctuations in its motion. What was observed defied thrust, drag, and momentum alike. From this abyss of contradiction emerged a radical idea: controlled drift. It proposed that 3I Atlas was not accelerating through propulsion, but through manipulation of space-time itself. Its apparent speed changes were illusions, the product of a body altering the very fabric around it. In this model, inertia was no longer a constant, but a variable. Time could dilate locally. Space could contract microscopically, allowing the object to move without moving at all. If true, this was not mere physics. It was authorship over the laws of motion. Quantum field simulations hinted at something extraordinary, subtle distortions consistent with variations in dark energy density. The object seemed to create pockets of altered vacuum pressure, bending space-time as if sculpting the void. The energy required was astronomical, beyond supernovae, beyond civilization scale. Yet 3I Atlas did so without a visible trace of power. When an autonomous probe was launched to study its passing tail, something inexplicable occurred. For 3 seconds, all sensors went black. Upon restoration, the data stream returned corrupted, a recursive sequence of mirrored coordinates, suggesting the probe's own signal had been reflected backward in time. The telemetry seemed to remember an event that had not yet happened. To some, it was evidence of temporal distortion. To others, it was proof that the object was observing, testing, perhaps even teaching through interference. Was 3I Atlas a machine capable of folding time to hide its true nature? Or was humanity glimpsing the first artifact of a civilization that had learned to drift, not across space, but through reality itself? At 0742 UTC, 3I Atlas reached perihelion, the closest point to the sun. For weeks, scientists had watched its erratic rhythms, its cryptic accelerations, and the strange pulse of data that seemed to synchronize with its every move. But in that moment of greatest solar proximity, all movement ceased. The object entered perfect stillness. Its velocity flattened into absolute equilibrium, neither gaining nor losing momentum. No Kmetri outgassing, no magnetic distortion, no trace of energy emission. It drifted through the inner system like a thought suspended in silence. Across mission control rooms, monitors held a line of impossible calm, the heartbeat of motion extinguished. Then, without any measurable trigger, it moved. A single instant of ignition, not of light but of intent. 3I Atlas accelerated, not toward the sun but away from it, as though released from an unseen tether. Its speed multiplied beyond the scope of propulsion, surpassing escape velocity, its trajectory arcing back toward the endless dark between stars. In its wake, Earth's satellites trembled. A narrowband burst, sharp-ordered, instantaneous, struck the ionosphere. It lasted only a fraction of a second, yet its signature lingered in the magnetic field for hours. Within that pulse, encoded between frequencies, was pattern, the golden ratio, endlessly recursive, prime numbers woven in precise intervals, a mathematical fingerprint, or a greeting written in the language of the cosmos itself. Then it was gone. The light faded. The instruments fell silent. What remained was not absence but echo, a question without an answer. Had humanity just witnessed the passing of a vessel guided by intelligence? Or the awakening of something greater, a cosmic network whispering across the distances waiting for us to reply?